Coming to you after a long road trip with my pal Abby to Davenport, Iowa to visit Natty Girl and Gino. It's Webberless Nerd Out time! How you guys doing today? Happy Webberless Nerd Out time, you guys. And I want to say, before we get started, we all know what day it is, and we will never forget 9/11/2001 and all of the great people that were lost that day. And we'll talk about them more at the end. My heart goes out to all the families who suffered losses during that day, that tragic day, infamous in history, and we'll talk about that more at the end. But as for now, let's get into our discussion of the day. And today what we're talking about are some secondary options for patients with high blood sugar, people that eat a lot of carbs in general, pre-diabetes, diabetes, things like that. And yesterday, to pick up where we left off, we talked about some of our primary options for natural supplementation for reducing blood sugar, controlling blood sugar levels, and improving insulin sensitivity in people that have elevated fasting blood glucose levels or elevated HbA1c, right? And, we'll talk about these options again in a second here. But, after taking them, and if you remember, they were berberine, zinc sulfate or gluconate, and magnesium gluconate, magnesium citrate being the first option, for magnesium, or magnesium gluconate or glycinate, all right? So after taking the berberine, zinc, and magnesium, for 4 to 6 weeks, so we've been taking them for a while now, right? And of course you're going to consult your doctor if you're taking any other medications to see any potential interactions or things like that, right? Before taking these supplements. But when we talk about these primary options, well, after we've taken them for, again, 4 to 6 weeks, then we can begin to introduce secondary options to help us control our blood sugar levels and to improve insulin sensitivity. And when we're taking these secondary options we're about to mention here, well, they should be split up by a 1 to 2 week period from one another. So again, we introduce these secondary options in natural supplementation for controlling blood glucose levels and improving insulin sensitivity by 1 to 2 weeks from one another, okay? Adding one at a time, and we're going to take them all with meals. All right. So the first one we'll mention is chromium picolinate. And when we talk about chromium picolinate, well, more specifically here, we're talking about people with that elevated HbA1c or elevated fasting blood glucose levels. And chromium picolinate will be taken in a dosage of 600 micrograms, right? 600 micrograms to 1,000 micrograms in a day, splitting up the dosage of chromium picolinate throughout the day. All right. Now, after we've been taking chromium picolinate for a week or two, then we can introduce cinnamomum cassia. And when we talk about cinnamomum cassia, the dosage is 500 milligrams to be taken twice a day. All right, so this is in milligrams, right? Chromium picolinate, again, remember, was in micrograms, 600 to 1,000. And when we talk about cinnamomum cassia, taking that 500 milligram dosage, we're going to take it twice a day. And we are going to go 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off with our cinnamomum cassia supplementation. All right. And again, these are second lines of, defense, we could say, or our second line in natural supplementation for the control of high blood glucose and elevated HbA1c. Now, after we've been taking cinnamomum cassia for a week or two, then we can introduce Pynitol at 1.2 grams in a day. All right. And if Pynitol isn't working that well for you and we don't see reductions in these fasting blood glucose or, percentage of HbA1c, well, then we could try myo-inositol. And myo-inositol, albeit is not as well studied, may be able to help in this sense of controlling blood sugar and improving insulin sensitivity. And when we take myo-inositol, we're looking at 4 grams in a day. All right. So now when we talk about people with insulin resistance, all right, with insulin resistance, your secondary options are going to be the latter two we've just mentioned. And so Pinotol being the first one, right, at 1.2 grams in a day. And if Pinotol does not do it for you in terms of improving insulin resistance, if we don't see any results, then we can go for that myo-inositol, all right, at 4 grams a day for insulin resistance. So now, what about for people with pre-diabetes or diabetes that exercise regularly? All right, well, the thing is, when we exercise regularly, we lose a lot of minerals through our sweat, all right, and magnesium and zinc being a couple of those, all right. And so, as we said yesterday, our primary options for helping to control blood sugar and improve insulin sensitivity were berberine at 300 to 500 milligrams in a day, all right, dosed at 3 to 4 times. So again, it's 300 to 500 milligrams of berberine 3 to 4 times a day, splitting these dosages up with meals as we're taking them with our meals containing carbs, right, or shortly thereafter the meal. All right. And then after we've been taking that berberine for about a week or two, then we can introduce zinc. And when we talk about zinc, we have zinc sulfate, we have zinc gluconate being another option, and with zinc, 25 to 40 milligrams in a day, right? And so after we've been taking berberine and zinc for 2 to 4 weeks, all right, only then do we introduce magnesium in the form of magnesium citrate, gluconate, or glycinate, and this is going to be 200 to 350 milligrams in a day, all right? So we said that, these first lines are primary options for natural supplementation for our purpose here. They are good for people with elevated HbA1c and for people with high fasting blood glucose levels, but also these primary options will be applied to people with prediabetes or diabetes that undergo exercise regularly, especially high intensity exercises. They're sweating a lot and they are sweating out those minerals, right? And so when we take that zinc sulfate or that magnesium citrate, we take the zinc without meals and the magnesium with meals, but we could take both with meals if we get that upset stomach, right? And when we start with berberine, we start on that low end of the 300 to 500 milligrams 3 to 4 times a day, right? Because the higher ends may cause stomach discomfort or diarrhea, right? And now when we're talking about the zinc sulfate or the magnesium citrate, if we are taking them with meals, again, we don't want to take them with phytates, like grains, seeds, nuts, and legumes, right? The storage form of phosphorus in plants that decreases the absorption of zinc or magnesium, along with iron or calcium too, fun fact. But, we just want to make sure that if we're taking them with meal, it's not with phytate-containing foods, okay? And last but not least, let's talk about people with just a high-carb diet in general, all right? So with a high-carbohydrate diet, your first option is berberine, again, 300 to 500 milligrams in a day, taken 3 to 4 times per day, splitting the dosages up, taken with meals or shortly thereafter. All right. And our second option for people with a high carbohydrate diet to improve blood glucose control and insulin sensitivity is Cinnamomum cassia. And we said that we take that 500 milligrams twice a day, 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off. All right. So I know it was a lot of numbers, things like that, but I hope it was helpful, you guys. If any of you just, want to help, to control your blood sugar naturally, or you or a loved one has pre-diabetes or diabetes or elevated HbA1c or fasting blood glucose levels, we gave you a few good natural supplement options to help control that. All right. And again, first consult your doctor about any medication interactions and things like that to see if you should be taking these natural supplements. All right. But before we go, we have to say, today, a day that went down in infamy once again, 9/11, 2001, 20 years ago today. It's something that obviously is sad, and it hits us all, especially those of us from New York. It hits our heart. We have a heavy-weighted heart today for the people who lost loved ones that day, and just for the impact it had on our country. And I think what's important at this point, albeit we will never forget that day, we have to never forget something else. We need to unite. We need to love one another. We need to look out for one another. We need to support one another. As United States citizens, we need to support one another, and let this day be a reminder for that, because right now we are not doing that nearly enough. People quarrel over whether you're vaccinated or not, wear a mask, you don't, you do this. Listen, everything is somebody's personal choice, all right? Just like it's their personal choice to eat healthy or not, or go to the gym or not, or sleep or not, whatever, and that's their choice. We need to support each other. We need to be a unit. We need to be a team. This will strengthen us. Right now, we're weakening ourselves. Why are we doing this? Doesn't make any sense. Let this day be a reminder that we should support each other, and we should support each other's independence and promote the achievement of well-being in mental and physical health for one another, regardless of our personal opinion or gain. So hopefully this day can be a reminder that we need to be with one another on the same page here. And when we fight today, when we fight to get done what we got to get done, when we go to the gym and you're thinking about not doing that extra rep, you're going to do it. You're going to go hard as you possibly can. And who we're fighting for today are those people that we lost on 9/11, 2001, and their families. So I just wanted to say that before we go. I hope you guys got something out of it, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. All right. So let's see who we got on here. Who do we got? We got Mikey. I don't know how to get back. Yeah, my video thing was messed up. Mikey, what's going on? Lucas, what's up, my brother? Josh Spitz. Il Totogram, how you doing? Leo Skux, what's up, my brother? How you doing, Nikki? Dondra Butter. Gene, no, what's up, baby? I'll see you in a second. Ma, what's going on? Thanks for hopping on, you guys. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow, folks. Happy Wellness. Have a great rest of your night. Thank you.